LeeShawn Ferguson had a bright future, but fate had other plans. Unknown to him at the time, his decision to ignore the warning signs and venture into a restricted area of an amusement park would end up in tragedy. What really happened that day on Batman the Ride at Six Flags, Georgia? Was it just a reckless act, or did the park try to hide something? It wasn't the first time the ride claimed a life either. Stay tuned as we look at the hidden details of this tragic accident. In the sunny state of South Carolina, LeeShawn Ferguson had everything going for him. He was the eldest son of the Ferguson family, and he was like a prized possession to his parents. Born on April 26, 1991, he was described by his family as a young man with a heart of gold and a promising future. Asia was deeply devoted to his family and his faith, attending church every Sunday and volunteering to help everyone in any way possible. Not only that, he was a bright student and a rising senior at Springfield High School. According to his parents, he wanted to study medicine in college. But fate had something else in store for Asia. On a warm summer day in 2008, he joined 70 other members of his church and family for a thrilling adventure at Six Flags over Georgia. The park was packed with adrenaline-pumping rides and attractions, but none could match the excitement of Batman the Ride. This steel-inverted coaster, based on the legendary DC Comics character, was the ultimate test of courage and endurance. As Asia, who was 17 at the time, waited in line for his turn on the ride, his heart pounded with excitement. Little did he know that what awaited him would change his life forever. But first, let's look at the history of Six Flags over Georgia, a place where adventure and excitement reign supreme. This legendary amusement park opened its gates on June 16, 1967, welcoming 3,000 visitors on its very first day. And by the end of the summer, more than 1.2 million thrill seekers had flocked to the park's 290-acre expanse. With over 40 rides, including 11 heart-stopping roller coasters, Six Flags over Georgia boasts one of the most impressive collections of amusement park attractions in the whole world. But there's one ride that truly stands out from the pack: the world-famous Batman the Ride. This steel-inverted coaster, based on the iconic DC Comics character, has become a symbol of the park's commitment to thrills and excitement. The idea for a Batman-themed roller coaster was born in the early 1990s when the general manager of Six Flags Chicago decided to bring the Caped Crusader to life. On May 3, 1997, Batman the Ride opened in Six Flags, Georgia. This bad boy has a track that's a whopping 2,700 feet long and a top speed of 50 miles per hour, with not one, not two, but 5 inversions that'll have you flipping head over heels. From a 0G roll to 2 corkscrews and 2 vertical loops, this ride is the epitome of pure adrenaline. It's no wonder it's been one of the park's most popular attractions since it first opened its gates. Its popularity is well earned, but unfortunately, it also comes with some tragic accidents. One such incident happened back on the 29th of June, 2008. On that ill-fated Saturday, Asia and his friends decided to take a risk, and they climbed over 2 6-foot fences, ignoring the numerous warning signs that marked the area as restricted and dangerous. What happened next is hard to comprehend. While Asia was in the prohibited zone, a rider's foot made contact with him as the Batman roller coaster raced by at its top speed of 50 miles per hour. The impact was so brutal that Asia was decapitated instantly. It was an unimaginable tragedy that can still send shivers down the spines of those who hear about it. This accident was a grim reminder of the importance of safety rules and regulations. The thrill of the ride shouldn't come at the cost of someone's life. A woman waiting in line for the roller coaster witnessed the horrifying incident unfold right in front of her very eyes. The teenagers ran past her and jumped over the fence into a restricted area. Before she could even comprehend what was happening, one of them was picked up by the ride and thrown over the fence with a sickening thud. The woman's heart raced as she watched the tragedy unfold. She recalled, "I heard a big pop and he just laid there." Paramedics arrived at the scene within minutes, but they couldn't save Asia LeeShawn, who died on the spot. The park was thrown into chaos as different theories emerged about why the teenagers entered the restricted area. However, the most compelling theory was that Asia went to retrieve a hat he had lost on the ride. In fact, his friend and several other guests heard him discussing plans to retrieve the hat before his tragic end. Although the police later denied this theory, many people still believe it to be true, even though it was never fully confirmed. The authorities launched an investigation after the tragedy, and the ride was closed down for 2 days. It was later revealed that Ferguson had climbed 2 fences to access the restricted area, where he was hit and decapitated by the ride. He saw the danger do not enter signs, but unfortunately ended up ignoring them, thinking if he was careful, he could be invincible. Unfortunately, that was not the case. The park remained shut while investigators tried to determine what went wrong. Autopsy reports confirmed that his death was accidental, but that doesn't take away from the sheer terror of the situation. Officers inspected the ride and said it was safe, but how can anyone be sure after something like this? When asked why Ferguson would climb the fence, his parents were at a loss for words. They said, "Police investigators try to tell us what they thought had happened, but no one knows for sure, except my son and the Lord." The mystery surrounding the tragedy only adds to the suspense and horror of this situation. But if you think there was nothing wrong with the ride and it was all the victim's fault, you're in for a huge surprise. As it turns out, the tragedy that took place at Six Flags Over Georgia was not an isolated incident. 6 years earlier, Samuel Milton Guyton, a 58-year-old employee, found himself in the same restricted area beneath the Batman roller coaster. Unfortunately, he met the same fate as Asia LeeShawn Ferguson. Guyton was struck by the dangling leg of a rider and died instantly. The rider, a girl, sustained leg injuries and had to go to the hospital, but she eventually recovered. However, the incident was a sign of things to come. After Ferguson's death, Six Flags was quick to react. They increased the safety measures and put up more warning signs. But was all that really enough? Many people pointed out that it was still too easy to access the restricted area, despite the addition of barbed wire on several fences. It's scary to think that this tragedy could have been prevented if the park had taken stronger safety precautions after Guyton's death. Unfortunately, Six Flags seems to be a hotbed for amusement park disasters. In 2007, Caitlin Lassiter was riding the Superman Tower of Power at Six Flags Kentucky Kingdom in Louisville when disaster struck. The cables on the ride snapped and Lassiter's legs were severed. They managed to reattach her right foot, but her left leg had to be amputated, and she underwent several surgeries. The state officials investigating the accident claimed it was due to a faulty cable and a slow response from the ride operator. But the blame doesn't solely rest on the ride operator. Lassiter's family sued Six Flags Kentucky Kingdom for failing to maintain the ride and equipment and for not ensuring the safety of their riders. Like always, the park denied any responsibility for the accident, but who can really say for sure? It was a tragic incident that shook the world when Asia LeeShawn Ferguson lost his life in the Batman roller coaster ride. While the ride at the park may not be completely at fault for this one, there should be more protocol involved, so thrill seekers don't make any dangerous moves. A young life was lost due to a mistake, and it's a sad reality that we need to take seriously. Batman the ride still operates to this day, and it's a favorite amongst thrill seekers. But everyone needs to remember, those danger do not enter signs are there for a reason, and ignoring them could lead to dire consequences. Would you ever get on Batman the ride, even after knowing it's claimed 2 lives? Let us know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notifications before you leave so you never miss a story. Thanks for watching, take care, and we'll see you in the next one.